Hello and welcome into another edition of Beyond the Darkness. It is Monday and Dave is off to England again. I'm Tim Dennis, filling in for him. Originally I was going to do a new episode of Supernatural News, but I decided, the last time that we did a classic episode of Supernatural News, where it was myself and Dave, and we threw in Mally Fox, did pretty good numbers, and you guys seemed to enjoy it. So I decided this Monday I would do another classic episode of Supernatural News and kind of treat you guys to an episode from the past. And then we have brand new shows the rest of the week. So I figured that'd be a good way to kind of kick off the week and kind of wet your beak this week that way. Again, brand new shows the rest of the week. So without further ado, here we go. Here's a classic episode of Supernatural News here on Beyond the Darkness.
Good evening and welcome. You're tuned in to the best in paranormal talk radio. This is Darkness Radio. It's time for Supernatural News of the Strange. I am your host, Dave Schrader. Along with me, Supernatural News correspondent and the man in charge. Back where he belongs,
You
Mr.
be the
Tim
man.
Dennis.
Who put me in charge?
You're the only one that knows how to push buttons. Without you, I'm just, Mally and I are a couple of monkeys with tin cans.
Yeah,
kidding
I get
me?
easily distracted by light.
She is very sparkly things in the light. And I lose her, Tim. And there's nobody to punch buttons. We don't go over the air.
Exactly.
We learned how important you were.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I
Took a
missed
while.
you guys.
8 years, but we figured it out.
Well, it takes time sometimes. Good things come to those who wait.
I'm a thick man. I don't. I'm not going to lie. I don't always pick up on things well. All right, let's get going here today. Normally, I let you jump in with the news on
By the way,
Friday
what are you
night.
guys doing when I'm not here? Michael Jackson shows up on the air?
Yeah.
Dude, that was a weird show. We had. I will tell you. I've told you some of my favorite shows we've ever done. Where the shows like is the Paul McCartney alive story or dead?
Yeah.
Is Elvis still alive? Last night it ranks right up there with one of my favorite all-time Darkness Radio episodes because it was just so weird and so fun. Now, I will tell you this. For those of you that try to listen to it on iTunes, there was some kind of system hiccup. iTunes only picked up part of the feed. Our show last night was set the chat room abuzz, that's for sure. As we discussed, alive, is Michael Jackson dead? Did he fake his own death? And our guest, Pearl Jr., she's a journalist, and she's been a part of his molestation trial in 2005. Was a part of the Conrad Murray trial, part of the Katherine Jackson versus AEG live trial that's currently going on. So this is an accredited journalist that people respect and know and has a lot of access. And she is a firm believer. Lord love her. It took her 8 months of being hit with things before she really bought into the fact that he's faking his death. And she has become friends with somebody who calls himself Peter Pan. And he has contacted her on numerous occasions. And he called in to be a part of our show last night. It was not a bit. That was not Tim doing a fun voice.
I can tell everybody right now, I was with our good friend Susan watching Dark Skies last night because I missed the premiere when you guys went to see it. I was here working. So I decided to watch Dark Skies last night. That's what I was doing. My hand to God.
Yeah. So wasn't Tim, wasn't me. I can't tell you that it was Michael Jackson, but I can tell you whoever it was sounded an awful lot like Michael Jackson. It was an intriguing call. And I've had people all day long have been hitting me up. Do you believe, Peter? And I'm going to go on record right now. Everybody wants to know personally, do I believe that who called in last night was Michael Jackson? And I'm going to say, I'm going to leave it alone. I'm not going to answer one way or another because here was the deal. I just enjoyed the hell out of last night's show. And I will tell you this, my daughter, who's a massive Michael fan, listened to the audio podcast this morning. And when she heard the voice, she beamed like, I mean, you couldn't even believe she was so excited to hear that voice. So in my mind, I don't care who it was, but it was an interesting interview and I enjoyed it. So there, that's that. Mally, did you buy in? What do you think? Was that Michael or?
You know what? I don't know. To be honest, The logical part of me is like, no, he's passed on. But, I mean, stranger things have happened, and we are in the field of paranormal.
That is true.
So I'm going to keep an open mind.
And, what's so funny is people are they were adamant. People have come down on me in two ways. One, it's complete and utter BS. How could you even talk about this? The other side is, this is weird. What that sounds like him. What if it's him? This could be it. Mm-hmm. That's where I like to buy in. I like to have fun with it. It doesn't mean, as responsible journalists, we need to report a story, which we did. We reported her views of what's going on. And I asked some questions, and I asked a couple of hard questions. Why, if this is Michael Jackson, why are you on the phone with me the day after your daughter tried to commit suicide? I asked the questions. Yeah. And, and got answers. It is what it is. So but I enjoyed it. But it was a very heated discussion. We're going to open up the news tonight with two related stories, bizarre related stories. This comes to us. It says Michael Jackson's 15-year-old daughter was hospitalized Wednesday after an alleged suicide attempt. TMZ reported that Paris Jackson posted strange messages online, left a suicide note, then cut her arm with a large knife. LaToya Jackson said in an interview last month that the family was haunted by the king of pop's ghost. Well, on Tuesday, Paris posted some cryptic messages on her Twitter page. The teen posted yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away, now it looks as though they're here to stay. She also posted a comment wondering why tears have a salty taste. Early Wednesday morning, Paris called a suicide hotline and stated that she had cut herself. The phone operator immediately contacted authorities. The Los Angeles County Fire Department responded to the Jackson residence for a medical emergency. Paris was taken to a nearby hospital and received stitches for her self-inflicted injuries. We received a call at 1:27 in the morning. We transported a patient to the hospital at 1:47. We responded to a call of an overdose. That's the kind of call we got, a Los Angeles County Fire Department representative told Fox News. Well, last month, Paris's aunt LaToya Jackson claimed that Jackson's family home is haunted by the ghost of Michael Jackson. Now, I'm just throwing this out there. If he is still alive and continued to just get lighter in skin tone, maybe he just looks like a ghost, Tim. What are the options? Could that possibly be it?
That could be. The first thing
I'm alive, damn it. Just look at me.
They have like secret rooms in the mansion.
Yeah, it's all Scooby doing it.
The first thing that ran through my mind is the same people who said, how could you do that, Dave? How could you do a show like that? Would be the first ones to show up at that mansion and investigate for Michael's ghost.
Oh,
exactly.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
So, And my point that I was trying to make before is when people are so pissed off about this, and how could you believe that he faked his own death? Mm-hmm. I do a nightly show where we talk about fairies and ghosts and vampires and werewolves and witches and waving audio recorders in the air and picking up disembodied voices. And how could I dare believe that a multimillionaire might be able to pull off the faking of his own death?
And like you said, he didn't really commit a crime.
Well, I don't know. I'm still a firm believer that if you fake your death and there's trials for people to be put away, like Conrad Murray.
I agree with that.
I still think those are trials that, okay, yeah, maybe he'll have to pay a bunch of fines if he does come out of seclusion. But I still think that puts him on the hook for, wasting a lot of government time and taxpayer money. I just, no matter what he pays back, I still think that there's some crimes involved, and we should talk to an attorney. Is Mr. Fox, attorney at law, available? We should get him on the line.
He's not answering my phone.
Well, I can't blame him. You're a bit of a mooch. Anyway, the King of Pop died of acute propofol intoxication at his Holmby Hills mansion on June 25th, 2009 at the age of 50. Conrad Murray, Jackson's personal physician, was convicted of involuntary manslaughter for administering a strong anesthetic that resulted in Jackson's death. It's the strangest thing because you feel something like thick around you or behind you, and you're wondering. You don't see anything, but you feel a presence, LaToya said. It is unclear whether Paris has encountered the ghost of her father, Michael, at home. The teen is apparently still haunted by her father's death. After her suicide attempt, she was put on psychiatric hold for 72 hours. The prayers, thoughts, and beliefs here behind Darkness Radio is with the Jackson family during this time, and we pray that beautiful little Paris Jackson, she's an absolutely stunning looking little girl.
I like her punk look.
We pray for her health and mental health, that she finds the peace and healing that she needs, no matter what the case, whether daddy is alive or dead. We pray for the good. Now, one of the other strange parts of last night's show was the fact that one of the points that they tried to make to us, both Peter Pan and It's so weird for me to say that. Peter Pan and Pearl Jr., the 2 points that they tried to bring up to us, one of them was the fact that they don't really believe that Conrad Murray's in jail. Mm-hmm. And the guy does seem like he has unrestricted access to telephones and can call into radio shows and do all kinds of things. So Conrad, if you're listening, pick up the phone. Anyway, they were saying that, and they're making it sound like, don't worry, he's being taken care of, which I found hard to believe, But I guess maybe I'd go to jail if somebody was paying me enough to go to and maybe he's in like one of those high-class jails where he's treated like a king. And, he had nothing, from my understanding. He was really a failing guy with no money when he was working with Michael, from the news stories I've read. So, maybe it was a deal for him. I don't know. And how long would he go to jail? I don't know what you get for involuntary manslaughter. Maybe a couple years and you're out. And maybe he's set for life by the Jackson family.
Though. I wouldn't be accused.
You know what? It didn't stop the guys that fed drugs to Michael, to Elvis, to Marilyn Monroe. Their reputation, they didn't care about it. They thought they were untouchable. So a lot of times doctors get that God complex. But here's the weird thing. Conrad Murray made a phone call to Paris after her suicide attempt. Mm-hmm. And we've got the audio. This is the true audio. This is from TMZ. We're going to credit TMZ with this. We're going to play the entire little news segment. And I want you to listen to this news story and listen to the voicemail, because to me, this doesn't sound like a man that killed Paris's dad. And they sound like they are still very friendly from his tone and the way he talks. It just sounds like somebody that it's not like hey, I know I'm probably the last person you want to hear from, or, it's none of that. This is some of the weirdest audio I've ever heard. So let's take a listen now to the voicemail that Dr. Conrad Murray left for Paris Jackson.
So the one person that should not be reaching out to the Jackson family just did. Conrad Murray sent a voice message to Paris Jackson. Hey guys, Dax Holt here. So Conrad Murray actually had the nerve to send an audio message directed towards Paris Jackson with everything that's going on in her life right now, saying stuff like,
I don't know what you're going through, but I'm sure whatever it is, it must be difficult.
Hey, how about the fact that you killed her dad? Maybe that's one of the issues that's going on through her head. So during this phone message, he actually goes through and says,
but I wanted you to know that I am here for you. I have never been gone.
And then goes as far as quoting song lyrics from Michael Jackson himself and saying, Paris,
when you feel all alone, or when your heart feels heavy, when everything around you seems to cause dismay, just know that you're not alone.
There was one really interesting thing in the voice message, however. He said, Paris,
I knew of a time when you were in your deepest moments of grief. It was the time you came to console me. I'm sure you remember.
So is he saying that Paris actually came to him after Michael died to console him? He says that he loves her like a father.
And your daddy loved you beyond any explanation. Paris, I too love you as a precious father loves his own child. I always will be available to listen to you, answer your questions, or to share with you a plethora of beautiful and savored, untold stories of your father.
Hey, Conrad, how about you stay out of it? So here's the deal. I want you guys to write a comment below because I'm really ticked off about this situation. I think that he's doing all of this for publicity to get his name out there, and I think it's honestly despicable. But I want to know what you guys think, if you think maybe he's honestly being genuine about it because he did have a...
So that's the actual audio. Now, if you notice, the one other comment he makes in there is he goes, and Paris, your daddy loves you very much.
I caught that instead of saying loved.
Yeah, remember your daddy loved you very much. None of that is very much like, hey, Paris, your dad loves you very much. I don't know, but that was a weird moment, especially to follow on the heels of last night's show and pick up that audio. So I wanted to put that out there. I posted that on our video page up on Facebook, so you can go check it out and review it for yourself. Strangeness abounds, no doubt about it. But that is what tonight is. Supernatural news of all the strange and paranormal news fit to share with you from all around the world. Guess who else is joining us? Ladies and gentlemen, he's got his fedora, his little fanny pack. Yes, I mean little fanny pack. That's what I said. And his whip of destiny. Joining us, the one and only legend tripper himself, Mr. Jeff Belanger. Good evening, Jeff.
Good evening, guys, and thank you for acknowledging my fanny pack for once.
It's very, very nice fanny pack.
Yes, thank you. Next week it'll be a European handbag.
A Merce?
A Merce, if you will.
Excellent.
Yeah,
So
but
where are we going tonight, buddy?
We're going to an exotic place I like to call Pennsylvania.
Ooh. Tell me of this far-off location.
Pennsylvania. Specifically, we're going to Route 322, which is a 400-mile stretch of road that goes from Erie, up in the northwestern section, all the way down to just outside Philadelphia.
Erie. Coincidence?
Not at all.
I know.
This is a ghost story.
Excellent. What's going on?
It's a ghost story. So here's the thing. And I love ghost stories with specifics. You know, it's one thing to say, like, yeah, building's haunted. You go there, you might see something. It's another to say, every January 1st, a ghost rises in Philadelphia and marches along this 400-mile road and back again in one night.
Well, that's a lot of walking.
Mm-hmm.
It is a lot of walking.
Yeah.
You think we could set up cameras? We could catch this thing in action. I mean,
Sure.
we know when it's going to be, right?
Yeah, that's a lot of road to cover. And I got things I'm doing.
I get tired easily. I don't know about you.
And Mally, you heard earlier, she gets distracted by shiny things. So
Yeah, that's
we might
true.
not be the team you want on
I'm
this
probably
show.
looking the opposite way.
Yeah.
No, I think I was being more rhetorical.
Oh,
Oh,
Okay.
thanks.
Sure.
Tim, what does that mean?
I don't know. I'll look it up on
He's
Google.
so show-offy, this author.
It
So
wasn't so much an invite, you know. It's kind of you could if you wanted to.
you are a paranormal tease, Jeff Belanger.
So the story is General Mad Anthony Wayne. Have you heard of him?
Oh, no.
Don't worry.
I'm about to.
You're about to.
Excellent.
He is a Revolutionary War hero from the American Revolution, and he earned his nickname Mad Anthony during King's Ferry battle on the Hudson River in New York when he stormed the British fort Stony Point. The reason this fort was important was because the British were basically holding the Hudson River. You couldn't move supplies in or out through the Hudson without controlling this fort. And the British thought they had it because it was surrounded on three sides by water and one side by a swamp. So taking it was not an easy thing to do. And Mad Anthony Wayne took 1,000 men, rebels from America, stormed up the hill as the British rained down on them with musket fire and cannons. And he's bleeding, and he's got covered in mud and everything else. And he had one of his fellow soldiers lift him up and say, you know, if I'm going to die, I'm going to die at the head of my column. And basically he was able to take this fort. Real hero. Word spread. Everyone was blown away. How on earth did they do this? And basically they did it with a lot of heart. But, guy with a bleeding forehead leads a battle. They called him Mad Anthony Wayne. And it's a moniker that served him well. And after the Revolution, he was involved with the French and Indian Wars and things like that. And sadly, old Mad Anthony Wayne was stationed in Detroit and got a gout kind of disease and died in Erie, Pennsylvania. Unfortunately, died of disease, not on the battlefield like he probably should have. But he died December 15th, 1796 in Erie. Now, here's the thing. That's not the end of the story. It never is with a good ghost story, is it?
Nope, never. What happened next?
What happened next? What happened next was his son, Mad Anthony Wayne's son, keep in mind the whole family was from the Philadelphia area, came out there a few years later in 1806 and said, I want to collect my father's remains and have him buried in the family plot. So he sent word, and while this was happening, interesting thing, the folks on Fort Presque Island, which is where he was buried, right outside there in Erie, they didn't quite want to give him up. So a local doctor basically boiled Mad Anthony Wayne's body, took the bones, most of them anyway, put them in 2 saddlebags, and then took the rest of the flesh and uniform and reinterred Anthony Wayne in Fort Presque Island. And then his son took the bones back to the Philadelphia area along Route 3, what is now Route 322. And the story goes that some of the bones fell out along the way. So we know what was left of his flesh and uniform was and is still buried in the Erie area, and his bones, as many as they could get, were buried in Philadelphia. So the story goes, every January 1st, on his birthday, he rises from the grave at midnight and wanders Route 322 looking for his lost bones, all the way up to Erie and all the way back.
Wow. So obviously his son was not to be trusted carrying a bag of bones.
No, I mean,
And there's not that many bones in a bag. You shouldn't be losing them. As Mally I could see her doing that.
It's a bumpy road.
Yeah, oh, it's a bumpy road.
It's paved now. It's much nicer, but yeah. But it's a great story, a great piece of Americana too, and especially around Pennsylvania. There's so many schools and things named after this war hero, to be sure. And his legend lives on through a wonderful ghost story that spans 400 miles across the state.
So he just walks along trying to find his bones and reroute his path.
That's right.
And
all the way across the state. And it's things like this. Without that story, he's just another, notable figure in history, but one that we might have lost, especially, if he wasn't Mad Anthony Wayne. There were lots of generals and things that history doesn't quite remember, but when you're colorful, when you're Mad Anthony Wayne, and when your ghost is said to roam the entire state year after year, your legend lives on. And I think that's just a bit of the power of the ghost story.
Very cool. Now, is there, real claims of people seeing his specter walking along the roadside or floating, as it might be?
I've never heard claims along 322, but certainly the cemeteries where he's buried. Just the fact that he's buried in two spots poses a problem for most people. So one could understand why he might be not at rest when your body is your body's separated from its bones. But yeah, around the cemeteries, yes, but not necessarily along Route 322. Although, a road that long is going to have a ghost story or two, and it's easy to make that connection. But yeah, we've had no specific sightings of the Revolutionary War hero, but we've had ghost sightings in and around the areas.
Well, very cool. You know what I'd like? If I could put you to task to give us another really good, creepy ghost story, a place somebody can go investigate right here in the boundaries of our own United States again for us next week. Jeff, would you hit the road and start doing that for us?
Sounds good.
All right, Jeff. Well, thank you very much. Stay clean and, give your beautiful little daughter Sophie a hug for us and let her know that we're still all praying for her and sending good thoughts and wishes for quick recovery.
Guys.
All right. Take care, buddy. That's Mr. Jeff Belanger. Check him out at ghostvillage.com. If you are interested in the paranormal, he's the author you want to read. One of the most prolific authors in the field of the paranormal. And you can find his books and links on ghostvillage.com. Supernatural news of the strange and bizarre. Tim, you have the floor, sir.
Ooh.
Where are we beginning in your journey?
We're going to Devon, sir.
Devon, sir.
Well, no, Devon and then sir. Not Devon, sir. I don't
That was
That's
like
not
big
as fun.
sir. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What's going on in Devon?
When I was in Seattle, I confused the Space Needle with Big Ben.
Obviously.
I'm sure.
It's pretty bad.
Look, it's Big Ben.
Big Ben, Parliament,
People are like,
kids.
what are you talking about? This guy's a moron.
Yeah, I know. That's why people love me.
That is true.
We go to Devon, where strange bumps in the nights, legends of pixies and mermaids, and spontaneous combustion in Devon are explored in a new book investigating the area's mysterious secrets. Paranormal Devon, which was written by Daniel Codd, has unearthed plenty of strange tales of the supernatural and paranormal, including stories of the black dog of, oh boy, I don't know how to pronounce this one. I'd say Upline.
All right, go for it.
Yeah.
Who's going to call you on it?
A bunch of listeners.
I know exactly.
that live
Tomorrow
there.
is supposed to be
Only the
full.
people out in Edinburgh.
Edinburgh and like it.
Yeah.
We love people from
That was
Scotland.
more Lemmy from Motorhead.
I don't know what the hell that was.
Like it, all right.
It sounds like you're about to pass a
I
stone.
think I did. A messy one.
Which one, Mick or Keith? That was definitely a Keith Stone.
I think that was more Bill Watts. It was very silent. And the Witch's Stone at Putt's Corner. I can pronounce that one. Daniel says the book was initially inspired by a fundamental fascination with everything that is strange, out of the ordinary, mysterious, and paranormal. In short, everything that gets reported or noticed by the average person, but for which there is not an adequate or immediate explanation. He says, I'm also intrigued by the thought that folklore and urban legend, both old and new, might have a basis in some kind of fact. He added, I've been collecting people's stories of ghosts, mysteries, and snippets of folklore for years, and in 2007 was lucky enough to have a volume on Lincolnshire mysteries published. Since then, it's become almost a full-time occupation. In writing the book, David familiarized himself with the county's history and spent time looking at archive material, legends, old stories, and talking to people. Ottery St. Mary's Pixie Day, mermaid spotted in Exmouth, and a skeletal cadaver effigy which resides in St. Andrew's Church also are featured in the book. The 40-year-old says, I've always wanted to explore Devon's mysterious secrets. My previous book to this concerned Lancashire. I won't say Shire ever again, sire. Okay. The southern half of which is very urban, so Devon seemed quite appealing after that with its spectacular natural landscape. He goes on to say, but apart from that, Devin stands out as having a number of classic ghostly stories, not to mention the legends of pixies, but I thought that it would be rewarding to get to the bottom of, also, although I'm not a Devonian myself, would it be a Devonian or Devonian?
Now, if you're a follower of me, you'd be a Devonian.
Although I could go for a pizza, so Devonian sounds pretty good right now.
Devonians.
Sausage sandwich.
Oh,
yeah.
Devani's Italian
Making my
sausage.
tummy growl. Stop.
Send him to my house, please.
Okay, we'll do.
Oh, my God.
Although he says he's not up for Devani's himself, the rest of us are. And he also says a number of friends in Devon who were good enough to suggest that a book on county mysteries might make a fascinating read. He says he also hopes that turned out to be the case. He claims he certainly loved every moment spent in the county during the course of his research. Some of the things that he's experienced, such as trekking out to see the child's tomb on Dartmoor in the pouring rain with a guide and a dog, he'll not forget in a hurry. Daniel also says the umbrella term paranormal means that the book covers all aspects of the mysterious. There's a chronology of ghostly mysteries that begins with the earliest folklore and brings us up to date with modern ghost stories.
Very cool.
Paranormal Devon's the name of the book. Look for it at all good bookshops and online retailers.
Let's get it and then go on a road trip, but we'd have to have a driver because we'd have a hard time driving on the opposite side.
Yeah, especially how do we get there from here?
Oh, we fly, and then we rent a
good.
car.
You said let's do a road trip.
Well, road trip, right, once we get there.
Does Devoni's deliver all the way up there?
Man, I hear England's got a lot of bad food.
No, they actually have really good food now.
Oh, do they? Mm-hmm. Are they the ones with bangers and mash, or is that
Yes.
more Irish food?
No, that's English.
Is it English?
I've always had really good food over there.
I'm so trendy. Every time I've been to England, twice, in their airport, I always have fish and chips
You're
and
having
mashed
airport
peas.
food.
No. I eat at their British pub.
Okay.
But I have fish and chips and mashed peas so that I can feel like I'm part of it. It's like going to Boston and going right to a Red Lobster.
I know.
You know?
Or an
Don't you feel
Olive
like you're
Garden.
right there?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Where are we going next, sir?
We're going to talk about the real-life exorcist, the Reverend Tom Willis. There was a article in the Mirror this
What
week.
you talking about, Willis?
Exactly. That's what I thought. I thought maybe he was the because looking at the picture of him, and I know this makes for great radio, he kind of looks like Mr. Drummond.
He
Dude,
does.
he so does.
Wow, that's weird.
He does.
Who I think just passed away.
Yeah, he did. Conrad Bain.
Conrad
Sad.
Bain.
Yep. I think it was with a battle with the devil, I think is how Conrad Bain went. No? Okay. In a lifetime dealing with the supernatural, he says he has seen things he cannot explain, including ornaments flying through walls and bodiless voices calling to him from beyond the grave. It has been dismissed by skeptics who believe it is stuff of Hollywood horror movies rather than real life. But when Pope Francis stopped to lay hands on a disabled boy last week...
Lay your hands on me. That's a little Bon Jovi for you.
You just crossed the streams. You crossed the paranormal streams. At least in my world.
Lay your hands on me.
Can you feel the testosterone dropping in the room right now?
I felt more butch, honestly.
Did you?
Does my hair look like his?
Yeah. What hair?
I think I'm balancing us out.
Good God.
All Bon Jovi's fault.
That is weird when Melly's the sanest one of the three of us tonight.
Yep.
All right. So what's going on? He's got go on. Weird career here.
Weird career. When Pope Francis laid hands on a disabled boy last week and there's talk of exorcism, it brought the Reverend Tom Willis into the news. He is the UK's leading exorcist, a man who's been called in to tackle poltergeists and the possessed for the past 50 years. In a lifetime dealing with the supernatural, he says he's seen things that cannot be explained, including, as we said, ornaments flying through walls and bodiless voices calling to him from beyond the grave. Reverend Willis, who is at the spry age of 82, is the Church of England's minister and is still in demand from around the world from people who want his help to destroy what they believe are evil spirits. His expertise is so valued in Britain that even the police call on him. That's right. You heard right. The police call Reverend Willis.
Really?
Yeah, well, that's what he claims.
I bet he's got some good stories.
Yeah. Get on that, Mel. Come on our show.
Call him up.
Do a little road trip out to his house.
There we go. I honk. I don't even go to the front door.
I don't have a demon, but I'm on a show and I want you to talk about him.
That's right.
Yeah, please.
I don't know. Melly might have a few demons.
Well,
So what else does the good Reverend have?
the Reverend says the people who come to me are really frightened. I even had atheists tell me I don't believe in ghosts, but I can't explain what is happening. He adds, I always say you don't get possessed just walking to the supermarket, although I've bought many carts full of Oreos and can't explain it. That's just me adding that part.
That does happen, doesn't it?
Oh, it does.
Come home. Why do I have 14 boxes of Suzy Q's and Oreos?
I know.
And 1 box of ramen noodles. That's it.
It's the devil.
You have to look for a reason why it should happen. Often people have dabbled quite strongly in evil or Oreos, whichever one comes first. Reverend Willis found his spooky vocation while working as a minister in York. When a parishioner asked for help dealing with their haunted house, something Reverend Willis says is more common than people think, he discovered he had a gift for restoring peace. Since then, he's found himself in some strange and scary situations, including the time he helped rid a medium of a very powerful evil spirit. Now, Reverend Willis says the man approached him after giving a speech about the supernatural. The stranger kept tapping his shoulder and talking to an invisible companion. Reverend Willis was unsure if the medium was pretending until the conversation took an unexpected turn. The Reverend says, when I mentioned the blood of Christ, his voice changed. He said, should I do the voice?
Yes, please.
Normally you'd think, don't talk about that, right? But it was more like...
Richard Nixon?
Exactly.
I wouldn't have thought of it. Don't talk about that.
Get away from my dog, Checkers. But actually the voice would be more like, don't talk about that, okay? That's really embarrassing.
Elmo? Was that the demonic voice?
No, that's not Elmo.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
And he started shaking and rubbing himself, according to Reverend Willis, the man.
Did you add that part?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
No, that's actually part of the story. At that point, I thought...
Tim's favorite part.
It is. Well...
He doesn't remember the rest of the story, just that part.
Describe to me in detail.
Did you just see that? Was there just a flash of light in this room?
Dude, I had my eyes closed for a second. I blinked. I was laughing until my eyes were closed.
I swear to God, it was like a lightning strike right in this room with us. They're just like a pop of white light. Does
Like
anybody
I
else
said.
smell burning feathers? Am I having a
Always
seizure?
looking the opposite way.
Evidently, God doesn't like us making fun
No.
of guys who are possessed
You're in
and rubbing
trouble.
themselves. Yeah. Yikes. The Reverend said that when he mentioned the blood of Christ, everything kind of went to you-know-what. At that point, he said, you really have got something evil in you. Reverend Willis is part of the international exorcist community and has heard some startling stories on his travels, like the time one of his colleagues was asked to perform an exorcism in India on a girl who couldn't speak. The colleague told me that when he blessed her, she began to shake. He asked the girl what her name was, and although she didn't usually talk, a weird voice says, I am stubbornness. Oh, that's any teenage girl. I mean,
That possesses two of my daughters. I know where that demon went.
I know.
Father, no.
He commanded the evil to depart, and she fell back. He went, well, there's the answer for your daughters, an exorcist. He went on down the line, blessing people. Then when he looked back, she had started singing hymns in her normal language. Reverend Willis is often called on to rid a haunted house of ghosts. He had a particularly chilling experience when he went to the home of a policeman who feared that his home had become possessed. As Reverend Willis sat with the officer and his family, ornaments started shaking and started to move. He said, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. After 10 minutes, the father said, the dog ornament has gone again. I looked at the mantelpiece and it had. Then I heard a thump in the kitchen and said, nobody move. I went to take a look and the ornament was there on the kitchen floor. It had gone right through a brick wall. Speaking about the continuing demand for his services, including from the authorities, he says, I still get a couple of calls a week. The police say, we think this one is more of your field of expertise. Reverend Willis has encountered his fair share of skeptics over the decades, but he says he's convinced by what he has witnessed. He adds that 1 in 10 people will claim to see a ghost during their lifetime. Now, one of his 4 daughters is documenting his spooky experiences for a book which will feature the strangest cases that he's dealt with. And while he's happy to talk about some of those frightening episodes, he is keen to point out that not every claim is genuine. He says some of the reports of hauntings and possessions are made by attention seekers as well as people with mental health problems. Reverend Willis knows that some people dismiss every claim about evil spirits, but he says what the Pope did in the Vatican 8 days ago has sparked a much-needed debate about the subject. The pontiff touched the head of a boy, then convulsed and slumped into his wheelchair, as you recall. Some say it was an exorcism, though the Vatican has denied it. Even so, Reverend Willis says the Pope and the last have encouraged the ministry of exorcism and set up conferences in colleges because it is a problem that is brought to them. This means exorcists like Reverend Willis will continue to be called into action, tending to the spiritual needs of their flock and the wider population. It isn't always an easy task, but the minister says the strength of his faith continues to guide him. It can be uncomfortable if I lay my hands on someone for healing and they growl at me in a weird voice. He explains that I might bring another couple of priests in to help me. In the end, I know evil exists, but it is afraid of good. I need to be wary of it, but I should not be afraid. That is what my work is all about.
Wow.
We're going to probably see him on Ghost Story, My Ghost Story, or Paranormal Witness or something.
Yes, that's
next.
obviously where he's going to go. You know, the Palmer House was just on Paranormal Witness this last week. The Palmer House up here in Minneapolis, or Sauk Center, Minnesota, where we're going to be doing our event in August. So if you are a fan of Paranormal Witness, I guess go watch this last episode. Mally Fox. Here was some entertainment paranormal news. Is that fair to say?
Sure. I'll entertain you.
This could be the creepiest story we've ever encountered on the show, Tim. Are you ready?
Creepiest?
Yes, this could be the creepiest ever. Go ahead with your first story, Mel.
Are we talking about Bieber fever?
Yes.
He believes in space travel.
Well, it does exist, Mel.
Well, I know,
he's not the only one.
Well, so what? People can leave this planet, huh?
You may find out sooner than you expect.
I'm just quoting from the story.
All right, so Bieber fever. What's going on? Justin is leaving us?
Yes. Well, I know. I'm sure a lot of fathers are very excited about that. Yes. But so the teen idol has signed up for a spot on the suborbital space flight with Virgin Galactic. At least that's what Richard Branson's saying, the airline's founder. He tweeted, "Great to hear Justin Bieber and Scooter Braun are the latest Virgin Galactic future astronauts. Congrats to see you up there." The billionaire, mogul, and adventurer announced on Twitter. Bieber, 19, didn't have any comment, but he did retweet Branson's well wishes to his 40 million Twitter followers, as did his manager, Scooter Braun, who added, "I'm going to be going to space, mama." The Biebs, because that's what we call them nowadays.
Thank you.
Maybe you do.
Has been fascinated with the final frontier for some time now, tweeting back in February. Is he like 12?
That's going to be like, he's been interested since he was 6.
He's been tweeting back. He was tweeting in February, "I want to do a concert in space." Sorry.
That's where he's going to sound best, too.
Yeah.
But this is funny because it prompted a reply from NASA. So apparently they're a follower of
NASA?
his. Yeah.
Or NASA? Which one?
I said Nassau, didn't I?
Yeah.
Nassau.
Nassau
That's
is
my
in the
southern
Bahamas.
accent.
Yeah.
Nassau. Oh, that's my southern accent. I can't get rid of it. Sorry. That's how I say it.
That's an accent? Nassau.
Gosh.
All right. If
But
people are playing the Mally Fox drinking game tonight and taking a shot for every giggle, they are already hammered.
That's half a drink right there.
Good Lord.
Anyway, they responded by, "Maybe we can help you with that." So the tickets to hitch a ride on Virgin Atlantic's rocket-powered Spaceship 2 doesn't come cheap. It's costing... Do you have $250,000?
You know it.
That's how much it is a seat. But given his net worth is estimated around $110 million, thanks to the sales of his music and his never-ending touring, Bieber can easily afford it. Virgin Galactic is fast-turning commercial spaceflight into reality. Its latest test of Spaceship 2, which was launched, in the California's Mojave Desert in April, saw the spacecraft break the speed of sound in its first powered flight. And if all goes well, the company's first true suborbital flight could take place by year's end and find Bieber and Braun flying 62 miles above the Earth. Now, they're not the only celebs with astronaut dreams. Leonardo DiCaprio is also booked aboard one of Branson's space planes, as reportedly are actors Tom Hanks, Victoria Principal, Ashton Kutcher, and world-renowned scientist Stephen Hawking.
Really? Mm-hmm. I will tell you, when you're talking about, his concert in space, I posted this video today. Have you seen this? No. Space Oddity, the song by David Bowie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you see the video I posted?
Mm-mm.
This is so cool. It was recorded by Commander Chris Hadfield on board the International Space Station. He actually made a video of himself singing Space Oddity on the International Space Station, and he's got a killer 70s mustache. It effing rocks. Canadian astronauts are so cool now in my book. I just want to meet a Canadian astronaut. Truthfully. All right. You got another short story there for me? We got about a minute and a half. What can you do for us here?
Okay, well, apparently we're going to be digging up some Spielberg's creepy aliens.
Really?
Yes. So
by we, do you mean you? Because I don't. Outside is dirty.
Really?
Yeah.
Dusty? Yeah. Well, deep in the New Mexican desert, rumor has it that you can find E.T. And we're not kidding here. We're talking about the creepy-looking Steven Spielberg extraterrestrial glowing finger phone home guy that was a cult classic in the 1980s. E.T. doesn't exist in a spaceship. Instead, there could be about 3.5 million E.T.s in a landfill site. So remember the old Atari gaming system? Like
Yes.
Pong and right.
Loved it.
I know, it rocked. Well, apparently, Atari paid top dollar to license a video game based on the extremely popular E.T. movie. Unfortunately, the game flopped so badly that some considered it to be one of the worst video games in history.
It was.
I had it.
I didn't, so
horrible.
I got lucky on that one. With millions of unsold copies, the story goes that in 1983, Atari had the game dumped in a landfill somewhere in New Mexico and later covered it with concrete. Now, according to a story, Ars-Technica.com.
I heard they were covering. I heard they were covering Hoffa with them.
Probably.
Two birds, one stone.
The existence of the landfill was confirmed in the Alamogordo Daily News by the garbage disposal company who dumped the games, and also in the New York Times by an Atari spokesperson. And last week, a Canadian studio called Fuel Industries was given permission to excavate the site over the next 6 months. And I guess Fuel Industries is going to be making a documentary about the effort, and it could be interesting to see a piece of gaming history be exhumed.
Not at all.
Well, if
Why
you're
would you do a document? Let's go dig up an old
Well, 'cause
Atari
maybe if,
cartridge
you're
that was
like just
dumped.
a huge gamer.
No.
Maybe the nostalgia.
No.
Oh,
Yeah. Sorry, Mel.
that's okay. You can write to
Really,
them.
that seems just ridiculous to me to do a documentary on digging up a failed Atari game. Weird. All right, well, that's just the tip of the iceberg, folks. We got weirder stories coming up. Stay tuned for supernatural news. This is the best in paranormal talk radio. This is Darkness Radio.
Beyond the darkness.
Welcome back to the second half of Beyond the Darkness for Monday. I'm Tim Dennison for Dave Schrader, who is in England. And before we get to supernatural news, just a quick note for you. Our social media manager, Cassie's mom, passed away over the weekend. So we wanted to send our condolences out to Cassie and to her sister Kelly and their entire family. Their mom, Sissy, passed away this past weekend. And we want to send out our thoughts and prayers and for strength, and send out our love to them as well. Again, our deepest, sincere condolences to them for the loss of their mother over the weekend. Also, we want to remind you that Chicago Ghost Con is coming up, and that's coming up a week from this weekend. So it's right around the corner already. It's hard to believe that we're this close to October. Just a very few tickets remain for Chicago Ghost Con. If you want to get a hold of tickets to Chicago Ghost Con, it's the last convention that Dave and I will be at together for the year. By all means, pick up those tickets, get your airfare, get your hotel, if that's what you need to do to get to Chicago, or drive out and see us. And it is the weekend of the 6th and 7th this year. You can do that by going to darknessevents.com. Once again, darknessevents.com. Click on the banner that says Chicago Ghost Con and join us out there in Chicago. So let's not delay any further. Let's join in now with the second half of Supernatural News here on a Monday on Beyond the Darkness.
Good evening and welcome back. This is the best of paranormal talk radio. This is Darkness Radio. I'm your host, Dave Schrader. Along with me, Tim Dennis, Mally Fox. Tim, where are we going next, sir?
Bolivia.
Bolivia.
Ooh.
Bolivia.
All right. What's going on
It's
there?
not a new, like an exotic-oo thing here, man.
It's not an exotic-oo?
This is, no, not an exotic-oo. This is more of a, oh, no, kind of ooh.
Okay.
Yeah. 17-year-old Santos Ramos, say it 10 times fast, has been identified by Bolivian police as a culprit in the death of 35-year-old Leandra Arias Yanco. A suspected rapist and murderer was buried alive in the grave of his alleged victim by enraged villagers in Bolivia. That's right. 17-year-old Santos Ramos had been identified by Bolivian police as a possible culprit in the death of 35-year-old Leandra Arias Yanco. But when they failed to act immediately, residents of the village of, oh my goodness, I don't think I can pronounce this, Colquichaca. That was Italian.
Colquichaca.
Colquichaca.
Colquichaca Khan.
Colquichaca Khan. Colquichaca Khan. took the law into their own hands. When witnesses said a group of villagers seized the teenager during the woman's funeral earlier this week and buried him alongside his victim. Then they blocked access to the settlement in the Potosi district of Bolivia's southern highlands to prevent police and prosecutors from reaching the area. A witness said Ramos was tied up before being thrown into the open grave, which was then filled with earth. The local radio station reporter who revealed the grim story has refused to be identified for fear of reprisals.
All right. Where are we going next, sir?
Oh, I had a whole other half page on that one.
Oh,
I
did
just
you?
made it sound like I could end it there.
Oh, I believed you. I was sold on it.
Were you? Yeah, I was too. Evidently so much I almost moved on.
Okay.
Lynchings sometimes occur and roll in poor parts of Bolivia in the absence of a heavy police presence. The burial comes just days after residents of the nearby Quechua indigenous community of Tres Cruces stoned to death a suspected thief and burned his accomplice alive.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's the kind of ooh we were looking for at the beginning. It was alleged that the two had earlier robbed a car and killed its driver. Earlier this year, a Bolivian police officer was lynched by an angry mob after he was confused with a thief in the city of El Alto. Potosi is the highest city in the world at 13,420 feet above sea level, and Colquechaca is a village of 5,000 inhabitants. The area was exploited by the Spanish for its silver and funded much of the Spanish Empire's expansion into the New World due to its, I believe it's Cerro Rico, a rich mountain, which has been mined for more than 500 years. Many inhabitants of the area are poor miners, still mining the mountain for rare silver and tin. Due to poor worker conditions and unsafe mining practices, present-day miners have a short life expectancy, with most contracting silicosis, and really, I've never heard of that, and dying within 12 years of beginning work in the mine.
So are they prosecuted for taking the law in their own hands or not?
Well, you can't take them to the people's court there, Mel.
Dun, 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 dun,
Well, you know what I mean? I mean, I'm kind of a believer, eye for an eye, but at the same time, I'm like, ooh, just in case they're innocent, maybe they should go in front of a court of law.
If you are killed by a guy and they killed the guy, do you really want him laying next to you
Yeah.
for all of eternity? I don't think
But it's interesting. I mean, they lynch him and then bury him with the victim. You know, that would be the way to go. I think the old days, wasn't it, when you murdered somebody, you hurt somebody, they actually bound them to your back, and you were forced
I didn't know that.
you were forced to carry them, and it would actually it would kill you, the pressing of their body on you. Weird stuff. All right, where are we going next, Timothy?
We go to Sozopol.
All right.
I get all the names this week. This is fun. Normally we do this to the rookie. A skeleton that was exhumed last year in the Bulgarian town of Sozopol returned today. Just showed up, said hi, had some coffee, talked to the kids. Some people believe that the human remains are from a medieval vampire. The bones made headlines in 2012, and now the town is placing their famous vampire skeleton in a new museum to attract world tourists. While archaeologists unearthed the male remains last year, they noticed an iron spike lodged in the skeleton's chest. According to scientists, the body was stabbed multiple times and was over 700 years old. Humans have been fearing vampires for centuries. In the 13th century, that one was cut off. It was common for people to leave stakes in corpses' chests to prevent them from rising up as vampires. This is the first discovery of a vampire burial in the town of Sozopol. Over 100 similar burials have been found throughout Bulgaria. National Geographic ranked the vampire skeleton as one of the top 10 most popular news photos for 2012. So there you go.
All right. Got a couple of really weird stories. Got a report on here. First one coming from a man in Virginia claimed that he killed his 2-year-old daughter, Jocelyn, because she was gesturing to him like she wanted to fight. According to authorities, a Mexican City 30-year-old Eder Guzman Rodriguez punched and choked his daughter to death in order to exorcise a demon out of her. He pleaded no contest to murder yesterday. Now, when Floyd County Sheriff deputies arrived at the scene, they found Eder Guzman Rodriguez and his wife, Carmen Nalcazo, in the living room. Nalcazo had visible injuries all over her body and was crying. Jocelyn's body was located in the couple's bedroom, wrapped in a blanket. I didn't mean to kill the body, Guzman Rodriguez said to authorities after the incident back in November of 2011. Guzman Rodriguez later told police that his daughter Jocelyn had a demon inside of her and that he attempted to exorcise the demon out. Authorities also found Bibles and religious materials all throughout his house. I know I am the one who hit her. I was the only one there. The demon used my body to kill her, Guzman Rodriguez said to the arresting officers during interrogation. Guzman Rodriguez was sentenced on Monday to 20 years and 11 months for the murder of his daughter, Jocelyn. Horrific. Horrific. Oh, good gravy. All right, let's go. Get another interesting one here. This comes to us from Missouri City, Texas. A Missouri City high school teacher's heart wasn't beating when she delivered her baby, but 3 of her coworkers are credited with saving her life and her newborns. Erica Nigrelli, an English teacher at Elkins High School, collapsed in a coworker's classroom when she was 36 weeks pregnant. Now, 3 months later, her baby, named Eliana, weighs 9 pounds, and doctors said she is getting healthier and could be taken off oxygen as early as next week. She's just a baby, said Erica, a normal baby. It's a miracle considering how baby Eliana came into this world. Nigrelli technically died, gave birth, and was brought back to life, doctors say. Erica said she told her coworker she felt faint. I put my head down and I essentially passed out, she said. Her husband, Nathan, is also an English teacher at Elkins. He said he heard the commotion and ran to see what was going on. I opened the door and walked in. Erica was lying on the floor. She was foaming and making gurgling sounds and just staring up, said her husband. Erica's heart had stopped. 3 coworkers sprang into action and began life-saving techniques. The school nurse, her assistant, and the athletic trainer started CPR and used a defibrillator to get her heart beating again. They kept the 32-year-old teacher alive until paramedics arrived and rushed her to the hospital. Doctors delivered the baby by emergency C-section 1 month early. Technically, it was a post-mortem delivery because Erica's heart was not beating. There were 2 lives hanging in the balance the whole time, said Nathan. Doctors diagnosed Erica with hypertrophic cardiomyopathy.
That sounds like the medical term. Sure, sure.
Hypertrophic cardiomyopathy.
There you go.
There you go. That sounds right.
That's knocking it out of the
wasn't
park.
conditioned. A condition in which the heart muscle just becomes thick. 9 times out of 10, most people just die from the initial collapse, said Eric. It was literally a ticking time bomb. It just happened when I was 36 weeks pregnant. She spent several weeks in ICU with her newborn in the NICU at a different hospital. Now they're both home and doing great. It's a testament to the actions of her coworkers who knew what to do in the first few minutes of her collapse. That's a feel-good story. I'll tell you that for sure. And then last one we'll go to before we join our pop culture columnist, Mr. Aaron Sagers. A woman has tried to have her marriage annulled because her husband was obsessed with his first wife and kept her ashes. Yeah. How do you like that? The woman said she wed under duress and was mentally unfit to consent to the union. The family court heard the pair was introduced at a church dance not long after the death of the man's first wife. Then they moved in together, which the wife claimed she was encouraged to do by members of her family and church. The wife claimed she became anxious about the man's obsession with his deceased wife very early on in the relationship. Her husband, it was claimed, kept his wife's ashes on the mantelpiece, photographs of her in the house, and tried to set up a shrine for her in a room with her clothes and personal objects on display. The woman said her husband also spoke every day about his first wife, telling her the marriage had been perfect and he wanted to reach for the stars with someone else. So far, this doesn't sound bad. It sounds like a lot of people that have lost a loved one. That some of them do put these little shrines up in honor. I don't think that's so crazy, and that he could say, "My first marriage was great, and I'd really like to find this love again." That's good so far. I don't see anything bad why she would want out of this. She said the wife said she found it intolerable to live in the shadow of death and felt humiliated by his attitude. The court heard she sought the intervention of her priest to encourage the husband to bury his first wife, which he did. Before their wedding, she left home and stayed with her friend for a week. She said she was persuaded to return by family, friends, and her priest, who told her to go through with the wedding. But she told the court she felt like she was drowning in pressure. The woman argued she became ill with depression in 2008, and 2 doctors had expressed the opinion that she lacked the mental capacity to consent to marriage. She argued the marriage should be annulled because of her mental state and the duress she was under from her priest, husband, and relatives. The court's judgment said she established that she was a lifelong connection to her church and that the counsel and guidance of her priest and members of her congregation were very important to her. But Justice Judith Ryan said a nullity decree was not granted lightly, and the husband's consent to the order was not enough to satisfy the court. In dismissing the application, Justice Ryan said medical evidence did not establish the woman's depressive disorder and deprived her of judgment of what the opinions of others had overborne her will. I mean, yeah, it'd be weird if it was somebody who was like completely obsessed and made her wear like her old clothing. But even when the priest said, you should bury your wife, okay, I don't get why this woman was so freaked out by this.
Yeah, but what if he compared her all the time to that? Like, my wife used to do this. My wife used to do that. Oh, my wife was so beautiful. My wife would, take it from the woman's point of view. I'd be like, enough. I'm sorry. I'm not her. That's my point of view. That's a woman's point of view.
But she's not even complaining that he did that in here. It's not like she said there was constant comparisons. He just held her in high regard and was looking for somebody else.
If you hold someone in high regard, that is kind of a comparison. She was perfect. You're not. That's what I'm saying.
Wow, we seem to have picked a scab here, Tim.
I think so.
I think there's only one way to back out of this.
Yeah. Oh, okay. This thing.
Yes.
There we go.
Hey, everybody. It's time to lift up our spirits and have a little fun.
Woo!
Joining us now from parts unknown, our very own paranormal pop culturist, CNN contributor, writer, syndicated columnist, and the host of Paranormal Paparazzi as seen on the Travel Channel. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Aaron Sagers. Good evening, Aaron. How are you, buddy?
I'm very good, Dave. Although, you are not as good as the last radio host that invited me on their show. I currently have their ashes on an urn in my hotel room right now.
Well, why don't you just kiss her ash and let's get on with the show. Hey, let's get to it. We've got a big story to break here with World War Z. The new zombie movie. Brad Pitt is out hustling. Like, he's showing up in every major state to the premieres to try to make this thing sing. And every review I'm reading is destroying this movie. Aaron, what do you think of World War Z?
Well, I think I was one of the first people or among the first audiences to see it a couple weeks ago in Hoboken, where Brad Pitt made a surprise appearance. And I was keeping my trap shut about this movie until he started making the rounds. So now I'm allowed to talk about it. And I was underwhelmed. As you know, Dave, I'm a big fan of zombies and hope for a lot with this movie. I really like Max Brooks' book, World War Z. But this was actually kind of toothless. And I mean that kind of literally. There is no gore. No blood, or maybe very little blood. And, the first act has some startling moments, some scares, but then it kind of falls apart. I think that...
Wait a minute. A zombie movie with no gore and no blood?
Yeah, I mean, I remember one scene where, at the very beginning of the movie, where we see a zombie hunched over someone, biting them, and lifts its head up to look at the camera, look at Brad Pitt, and you see literally like a bite mark on a person, but not like nowhere near the gore that we're kind of used to seeing on even The Walking Dead or, heck, even the Zombieland TV show, the pilot that aired a couple weeks ago. So it's a very bloodless movie.
Wow. What a disappointment.
Yeah. Maybe he's losing his touch.
I know, right?
Well, again, I don't know. Maybe they were trying to strive to give a different psychological edge and treat it more like a different type of movie in a different genre. But when you take a much beloved book, I mean, this book is huge in the zombie field and with the popularity of the gore factor of zombie movies, and then to kind of clean it up and sanitize it. Ah, boy. So you're saying, now would you say this is like a good rainy day, DVD from Redbox maybe to watch, but you wouldn't spend the money to go to the cinema and watch it in the theaters?
I mean, I guess it depends on how much you love zombie movies. I mean, if you're just looking for a good, throwaway summer movie, sure, go to the movie theater and check it out. If you are a diehard zombie fan and you really are a fan of the Max Brooks book, you are going to be disappointed. I mean, this is not the same product and is not even really reminiscent of the great Max Brooks book. So, it kind of depends on what you want to see. I mean, I was going into this really hoping for a truly epic, big-budget zombie movie, and that's not what I saw.
Well, and what's really weird is this movie, from all accounts I'm reading, is somewhere around $300 million is the final tally, and being panned this bad up front. This very well could be a huge destructive point for Brad Pitt's career. I mean, this is kind of a Kevin Costner mistake. And, which he had a couple of those, like with Waterworld and The Postman, which basically ruined his credibility as a leading man and bringing people in.
Yeah, I mean, now again, the way we measure those things now has changed somewhat. I mean, instead of a Kevin Costner mistake, this is almost like a Will Smith mistake, because last week we had After Earth, which did not perform well at all. Now, we'll figure out whether or not it is actually a financial flop based on international box office receipts, So World War Z might open really weak in the United States, but go on to make a lot of money internationally. It's just more of that perception of, is it a success or a flop? I think that this probably will make a lot of money, but I don't think anyone's going to walk away from this saying, this was brilliant, this was a really great zombie movie that changed the game.
Let me talk to you about Will Smith. He has been in a lot of really good movies, and lately in a lot of really crappy movies. It seems his career is going the way of Eddie Murphy. And not only him, but the street credibility of once very hot and well sought after director M. Night Shyamalan, who a lot of people don't even realize this is an M. Night Shyamalan movie, the After Earth. This is another failure for him and Will Smith. Do you think this is the death knell to finally bury M. Night Shyamalan and get the one-trick pony out of town?
I don't know. People keep hiring him. I mean, Sixth Sense was a great movie. I really enjoyed Unbreakable. I enjoyed Signs. But with each subsequent movie that he did, it seemed to get a lot worse.
All I have to say is The Happening.
Yeah, The Happening. Although, then you look at a movie like The Last Airbender, which was critically panned and was domestically a flop. But even that ended up making a lot of money internationally. So it made its money back. The thing is if we're just looking at recouping costs from the movie, he's still doing that. But by no means is it a good product or a good movie that he's putting out. So we'll see whether or not this is sort of the death knell. I mean, I don't want anybody to be out of work, but, certainly a guy that started out with such promise. I mean, people were comparing him to Spielberg when he made Sixth Sense.
Well, Spielberg and Hitchcock, yeah, they were really comparing him to just this amazing genius. And instead of going the way of Quentin Tarantino, he's gone the way of Roger Corman, it seems. And then you've got Will Smith, who had such a promising career, and it just seems his decisions have gotten progressively worse. Like I said, like Eddie Murphy. I don't know, bad juju all the way around. Any other good shows? I know there's a lot of replacement shows coming out for the summer here. Is there any good paranormal related series that we can look forward to?
Well, in addition to sort of the reality shows that are back on, the Sci-Fi Network, such as Paranormal Witness and Ghost Hunters is returning on Sci-Fi as well. I mean, the shows that I keep an eye on is, I talked to you about this the other day, Falling Skies, the alien invasion show, which takes a while to get into, but I am kind of invested in that show now, and I'm looking forward to its return this Sunday night on TNT, where we get even more aliens in sort of the Falling Skies world. So that's one I'm keeping an eye on.
Falling Skies, and I know a lot of people love it. My family loves it. I don't watch it. I just never appealed. I'm not a Noah Wyle fan, first of all. Maybe this will be one I'll catch up on YouTube, or not on YouTube, but on Netflix when they have the entire series released. But it just has not appealed to me. The other show that I thought held a lot of promise, which really fell apart for me, was Revolution. And I'll give it one more season to see if it picks up. But a lot of the shows that I thought have had a lot of promise have really come out to fail epically for me in the new seasons.
Yeah, I agree with you on Revolution. I mean, it's not that it did anything wrong. It just sort of didn't hold my interest. It's like one of those shows that you just sort of forget about, or you just don't feel like investing the time on. And sometimes that's worse than a show that you actively dislike. The show that's just sort of, forgettable and you let it go. That's sort of me in Revolution. But Falling Skies, I really felt like during their second season, they picked it up and they created more of a good alien survivor show on TNT. So I do like that one.
Well, let me ask you this. You get a chance to meet and talk with a lot of celebrities and interview them for these movies and shows. Do you ever ask, and has there been any celebrity, 2 or 3 celebrities that have really surprised you with belief in aliens or ghosts or that have had contact and were willing to share their stories with you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've got an entire presentation full of people that talk about that. I mean, just recently, J.K. Simmons, who I have a soft spot in my heart for being J. Jonah Jameson in the Spider-Man movies and Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movies. I was just talking to him about the movie Dark Skies, and he will not say that he thinks he saw an alien, but he says he was driving across the desert in New Mexico a couple years ago and saw something that he knows was not an aircraft and was not a meteor, and it shook him to the core. So, yeah, I mean, these celebrities do bring these things up. I mean, Noah Wiley, has told me that, he's not going to go on record saying that he believes aliens exist, but he thinks that there's a good chance that there's life, out there amongst the stars. The Doctor Who cast, each of them have told me, especially Karen Gillan and Matt Smith, that they just sort of take the idea of ghosts for granted. I mean, they're from the United Kingdom, where it's a very old country, and you just sort of assume that there's probably some sort of haunted location. So, yeah, I mean, it comes up a lot, and I think that it makes sense that it comes up a lot because when you think about it, celebrities have weird schedules. They're traveling all around the world. A lot of times they acquire odd artifacts. They're living in weird locations. In a way, it makes them really prone for unexplained activities. So it doesn't surprise me when they bring these things up.
All right, we got about a minute left. Huge news broke last week. We've been covering it ever since you've been a part of the show, as we're both Whovians and fans of the Doctor Who BBC series. Matt Smith, who just wrapped up the season with the episode "The Name of the Doctor," has 2 weeks ago had mentioned that he'd be back for an 8th season along with Jenna Coleman. Surprised everybody last Saturday night, and especially you while you were out at the Comic-Con. What happened with Matt Smith? What news can you tell us about this?
Basically, everybody out there, the news broke late on a Saturday night, especially late for our British friends out there, that Matt Smith is leaving Doctor Who after 4 years, which makes the opening for a new Doctor on the BBC show, long-running sci-fi show. And now we're waiting for the announcement of who's going to replace him. And if you head over to MTV Geek, I have an interview with John Barrowman from Torchwood. He talks about his speculations. And at Paranormal Pop Culture, I talk about my reactions to this. And it's big news. Seeing a doctor depart, it's big news. And I'm excited to find out who's going to take the role, which we might find out as early as July, which coincidentally coincides with San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Well, Mr. Sagers, thank you very much. We'll look forward to your reports next week and let us know what's going on in the world of paranormal pop culture. You can keep up with Aaron by checking out his website at paranormalpopculture.com. You can also find him at the upcoming Roswell Festival. I'll be out there just as a participant, but he's going to be one of the speakers, and you can find information at his website, paranormalpopculture.com. We're back with Supernatural News. Mally Fox, you have the floor. What you got for us next, baby girl?
Well, hopefully, because of M. Night Shyamalan's previous movies.
Yes.
Well, and they're not doing so well. Hopefully, his try at TV is going to be much better.
Oh,
No. Please, God, no.
M. Night Shyamalan.
Yes. Well, Fox has announced a new long-form event series from M. Night Shyamalan, and
I can guess the name of it.
Okay.
The Last Airbender, The Gassy Years.
No.
No.
All right,
This
sorry.
is called The Seventh Sense.
Yeah. No, it's called Wayward Pines. And it's described as an intense, mind-bending thriller.
Wait, I got to guess. At some point, they're going to relate this story to Twin Peaks.
You got it.
Oh, no.
Everybody, every show that
It's been
comes
like
out, they're
the
like,
trend lately, right?
it's like a Twin Peaks meets something dumber. So go ahead. All right.
So the series is based on Blake Crouch's novel Pines. And it follows a Secret Service agent, Ethan Burke, as he arrives in the town of Wayward Pines, Idaho, in search of 2 missing federal agents.
You to what?
What?
You to what?
You the man.
Idaho.
Oh, that's what I heard, girl.
I got it. Sorry.
I don't get it.
I'm innocent. I don't think that way.
Yeah.
I still don't get it.
So he's searching for 2 missing federal agents, but uncovers more questions than answers. Wayward Pines has been adapted by the Playboy Club's Chad Hodge and will be executive produced by the Sixth Sense director Shyamalan. With a top-notch support and feature-quality production plan, Wayward Pines represents exactly the kind of high-impact 10 to 12-part event that they set out to develop when they entered the limited series business, said Kevin Riley, chairman of entertainment, Fox Broadcasting Company. The series is the first of many big ideas, big names, and big talent that you can anticipate will be on our air in the next 12 to 24 months. Fox will order its first event series pilots later this year, with plans to debut its first long-form event series in 2014. And in response to the news, Twin Peaks co-creator Mark Frost wrote on Twitter, "What see you to this, people of the internet? Needless to say, we have nothing to do with it. More info on M. Night's homage to TP. Feel free to let Fox know how you feel about it." And a side note, Mark Frost recently dismissed rumors of a Twin Peaks revival.
And another mention of Twin Peaks. All right, what's your next one?
Brandon Braga's Salem Witch Trials drama is ordered to series at WGN America.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so some 3 months after installing Matt Chernis as president of WGN America, the Tribune-owned network has ordered its first original scripted series. With Matt Chernis newly installed as president, WGN, they ordered the scripted series. The first project is a drama titled Salem from Brandon Braga of 24, Star Trek, TNG, and Terra Nova, and Adam Simone from The Haunting in Connecticut. And will go straight to series with 13 episodes. The hour-long entry hails from Fox 21, the cable studio responsible for such cable dramas as Homeland and Sons of Anarchy, and was initially developed at FX. Production is set to begin in the fall with a plan to premiere on WGN in 2014. The news comes as Chernis looks to bolster both his executive team as well as his programming slate at the Tribune-owned network. Salem is set in the volatile world of 17th century Massachusetts and explores what really fueled the town's infamous witch trials. The series will look to uncover the dark supernatural truth hiding behind the veil of this period in American history. The witches featured are real, but they are not who or what they seem. What's more, the drama, which centers on an epic romance wrapped around the explosive revelation, delivers a bold new vision of Salem and an even bolder new vision of witches. Brennan and Adam have an amazing vision for the world and characters that compromise Salem, Massachusetts during the witch trials, and we believe that a great adventure full of supernatural romance and action awaits the viewer, said Chernis, who joined the company after a stint on the feature side at Warner Brothers. Before that, he spent several years in top programming posts at both Fox and cable sibling FX. The new position reunites him with his former boss, Tribune CEO Peter Laguerre.
So it's a cool show about Salem and kind of following the witch trials.
Yeah.
All right, very cool. And what's your last story for us here, Madison?
Recent news. A Texas woman has been arrested in connection with the mailing of 3 letters containing a form of the poison ricin to President Obama, New York City Mayor Mike Bloomberg, and the Director of Mayors Against Illegal Guns, federal authorities said. Shannon Rogers Guest Richardson of New Boston, Texas, originally called the Federal Bureau of Investigation, claiming that her husband had sent the letters, officials said, and the investigators found that she had sent the letters herself. Richardson is an actress with minor roles on television shows like The Walking Dead and Vampire Diaries, and was arrested in Arkansas on charges that will be filed Friday afternoon. Well, I guess that already happened. She has 5 sons, according to New York Times, and her husband, Nathaniel, is an Army veteran. Investigators have been probing who sent the 3 letters, all postmarked May 20th, from Shreveport, Louisiana, and without a return address. The letters sent to Obama and Bloomberg were discovered during routine mail screening processes, and the letter to Director of Mayors Against Illegal Guns, Mark Glaze, was opened. It read, "You'll have to kill me and my family before you get my guns. Anyone who wants to come to my house will get shot in the face. The right to bear arms is my constitutional God-given right, and I will exercise the right till the day I die." Now, toxin ricin can be made from castor beans and has no antidote, and it can take up to 36 hours to kill.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's pretty scary stuff.
No doubt. Hey, I've got, believe it or not, Tim.
Yes.
I've got 2 sports-related paranormal stories.
Get out.
Not 1, but 2, Mally.
Oh,
Hey,
that
that's
wasn't
that's
nice.
not the symbol for 2.
That's
exactly.
not? Oh, I'm
Good
sorry.
thing this is radio.
All right. Alien abduction in Brooklyn. Dateline. Many suspected as much. Rumors have circulated for years. NASA has devoted countless man-hours and untold millions studying the possibility. What are you going to do? Talk the alien to death from James Cameron? Well, many suspected as much. Rumors have circulated for years. NASA has devoted countless man-hours and untold millions studying the possibility. The evidence has been there for all to see. But it wasn't until yesterday in Brooklyn, New York, of all places, that it was finally confirmed that there is intelligent life on other planets. The reaction to the news has been as varied as one might expect. Some are donning plastic Spock ears and carrying signs welcoming the man from outer space. Others are gathering their loved ones around them and turning up the volume on the TV. But IBF light heavyweight champion Bernard Hopkins, who's 53-6 with 32 KOs, who faces unknown Karo Murat with 24-1, 14 KOs on July 13th, 2013 at the Barclays Center, is as composed as usual. The man whose name is synonymous with loquacious kept those attending yesterday's presser in thrall. He was an extraterrestrial, as we've come to expect. But no one in attendance, at least no one from this corner of the galaxy, was prepared for what Hopkins had to say. Of course, he talked about his age, naturally spoke about Murat, but then the bombshell started exploding and many ran for cover. The first bombshell is Hopkins will no longer be known as the Executioner. He's dropping that ring moniker because he is no longer executing. It's not because he's no longer executing. It's because, as he confessed to Fight News, I'm not human. I'm an alien.
Yeah, baby.
There's no reason to panic, nor is there any reason to call the ICE or INS. Hopkins is not that kind of alien. He's not the kind of alien who crosses the border for sole purpose of stealing American jobs. No, Hopkins is a real alien, an alien of the Area 51 variety. I'm from Mars, the former executioner said. I'm in this world, but not of this world. Wow. One too many blows to the head, sweet
Timmy's
Jesus.
smile just went away.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy, isn't it?
I was kind of hoping he was an alien.
No. All right, Miller Park in Milwaukee is our next story.
They're all aliens.
Yeah, has never known as a scary place to play. It's a beautiful ballpark, true, but it doesn't have the imposing aura as some other major league stadiums. So why do so many players dread their visits to Wisconsin? Because when big league clubs travel to Milwaukee, they tend to stay at one of the city's fanciest hotels, the Pfister. And apparently the 120-year-old Pfister is haunted.
Thank you.
Thank you. The Pfister is haunted. Now, it would be one thing if a lone player or just a handful of players had complained about ghosts in the hotel. But over the years, tons of players from different teams have mentioned that they have noticed paranormal activity. Adrian Beltre famously slept with his bat to protect himself. Several members of the Marlins even bunked up during a trip because they didn't want to battle the ghosts alone. For a recent ESPN magazine story, Stacey Pressman spoke with no fewer than 7 A-list MLB stars, each of whom who had his own scary story. Here's Michael Young's hilarious tale from the Pfister. Oh, that effing place? Listen, I'm not someone who spreads ghost stories, so if I'm telling you this is what happened, it did. A couple of years ago, I'm lying in bed after a night game, and I was out. My room was locked, but I heard these footsteps inside my room, stomping around. I had heard all these stories about the hotel, so I was wide awake at that point. And then I heard it again, these footsteps on the floor, so I yelled out, "Hey, make yourself at home, hang out, have a seat, but do not wake me up, okay?" After that, I didn't hear a thing for the rest of the night. I just let him know he was welcome, that we could be pals, that he could marinate in there as long as he needed, just as long as he didn't wake me up. Boston Red Sox outfielder Shane Victorino, I can't say this name, has heard that haunted tales of the Pfister from his teammates, but he told Pressman that he didn't believe it. There's nothing wrong with that hotel, Victorino claimed. Not surprisingly, the Pfister's official Twitter account backed up Victorino's statement. The only thing haunting us here is the spirit of hospitality, and it's been here for 120 years. At Shane Victorino got it right. Although that story, we've reported every year that during baseball season, teams do not want to stay at the Pfister. And what they've done, how funny is this? Some of the claims have been that they've taken the starting pitcher And they know that the team knows the people that run the Pfister. They've put him in the most active room at night so that he is bothered all night and kept off balance and off key. But this story has been passed around for quite a while. We talked to Dan, somebody or other, who wrote a couple books on haunted baseball.
Yep.
Dan Coleman, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
And but fascinating stuff. I just love when, the
Have
sports
you been
world. Yeah, actually, I've been to the Pfister Hotel a few times.
Yet, the Brewers have never won a World Series. I think part of that plan should be to actually play well on the field after you scare the bejesus out of the starting pitcher.
They've got the curse of the Bambino there, though, Tim.
No, that's that's Chicago, isn't it?
No, they have the goat, Billy Goat Gruff thing. Yeah. So they just, I remember.
Gambino.
It's because they just suck. We're going to take a quick break.
Yes.
Mr. Dennis, walk us out, sir, with some more supernatural tales and tell us what you got for us now.
I think we should hit some aliens for a minute. Not literally hit them because they get offended by that.
Them.
And they have big machines as well. We go to Canada, Dave.
Really? What's going on there?
Well, Canada's former Minister of National Defense, Paul Hellyer, testified at the citizen hearing on disclosure last month in Washington, D.C. And this is what he said. Hold on to your seat, kids. He said that aliens are living among us and that it is likely that at least 2 of them are working with the U.S. government.
Duh, we just said there's an IBF champ that's about to go fighting head to head, fist to fist, and he's an alien.
Death ray.
Yeah.
Wait.
What?
No death rays in boxing. Huh? I don't know. Well, there's that death ray.
Yes, there is.
Hit a guy too hard and you may not walk out of there conscious. Hellyer, whose belief on extraterrestrial life and UFOs are well established, made the statements at the non-governmental hearings chaired by 6 former U.S. congressmen and aimed at, according to the event's website, doing what the U.S. Congress has failed to do for 45 years, seek out the facts surrounding the most important issue of this or any other time, evidence pointing towards an extraterrestrial presence engaging the human race. Hellyer asserted a number of interesting things during his testimony, and video of what he has said has gone viral. Some of the highlights include him saying at least 4 species of alien have been visiting Earth for thousands of years. He went on to say some of the aliens hail from the Zeta Reticuli, the Pleiades, Orion, and Andromeda, and Altair star systems, and may have different agendas. Alien enthusiast Linda Moulton Howe is correct that there are live ETs on Earth at this present time, and at least 2 of them are working with the U.S. government. This is what the Paul Hellyer says. He also says that global warming is a primary threat to humanity, and dealing with it is being held back by our wars to control oil and the infinitely silly banking and financial system. He also says a shadowy cabal comprised of the Council on Foreign Relations, the Bilderbergers.
I've got shadowy cabals myself.
Oh, do I ever? Mm-hmm. Man, sometimes mine are just plain fuzzy and you can't see them.
God, he always has to take it one step further.
Well, no, I'm just saying it's the picture is fuzzy. The picture itself of the balls is fuzzy. No, don't do that.
Go ahead.
Don't do that. Mm-hmm. A shadowy cabal comprised of the Council on Foreign Relations, the Bilderbergers.
Oh, I love that restaurant chain.
I do too. Yeah, I get lots of mushrooms, lots of onions, and some pickles.
Ew, stinky.
Oh well, it's not cute, but it does a trick.
Yeah.
And the Trilateral Commission, the International Banking Cartel, the Oil Cartel, members of various intelligence organizations, and select members of the military junta.
Pardon me.
It's the military junta, Dave.
It's easy for you to say.
Control world affairs and are scheming to create one world government. He also goes on to say Canada, too, is included in the grand plan for one world government. He also says after 9/11, George W. Bush should have listened to Osama bin Laden to learn the true causes of the terrorist attack. Hellyer's statements, strange as they seem to be, come as a new survey reports that the sightings of UFOs have doubled in Canada in 2012.
Really? Mm-hmm. All right. Where are you going to go next, sir?
We go to Peru, Dave, where there's a military junta.
A junta?
Yeah. That'll clear your sinuses out. I'm not going to lie. Mm-hmm. There was a jellyfish UFO sighted over Peru by news cameramen.
We have some audio of it. Listen as it flies overhead.
Here it goes. It's just the most disgusting UFO I've ever heard.
It's a jellyfish in the sky.
Uh-huh.
How do we know jellyfish make that noise? Aren't they in the ocean? You're saying if they're on dry land,
they're
they make
jelly, Tim. What kind of sound does jelly make when you play with it?
Well, more of a...
Both of you guys are so wrong.
I can't make the noise. I'm sorry.
What the hell? Don't ever do that again. Look at what he Mally was doing. Look at his.
No, I'm reading, Mally.
No, show her what you did. Show her.
Noise.
Show her how you tried to make the noise.
It was too slick. Like this.
Look.
Oh,
what is that?
Sweetie, that's awful.
That's horrible.
I was trying to make the noise.
Mine is much better.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys stop it. It'll be scarred.
Oh, what is that?
It's a jellyfish alien.
It's a gobbling jellyfish.
I'm not going to be able to sleep.
It's okay. We could just cuddle, Mel.
I don't know. After those noises and facial expressions.
I need love.
No.
All right, go on.
A news video has revealed an unexplained aerial object in the sky above Lima, Peru. The UFO was seen on May 30th and described by eyewitnesses as similar to a jellyfish, but changed its shape several times. The UFO was videotaped for 10 minutes by Christian Ubilis, a cameraman for the Peru's television network, Channel 2. The video was subsequently aired on the news program 90 Segundos, and that's according to Open Minds TV. A Peruvian blog suggested the UFO resembled a balloon chain and turns out to be very similar to the numerous cases of sightings of Ibanis, which are entidad biological anomalous no identificada, or translated into sloppy jellyfish.
I know, exactly. It's getting worse. It's getting lazier.
There's nothing tight about that jellyfish at all.
Yeah.
Same. Whether this UFO turns out to be a bunch of balloons or some kind of biological creature that makes this noise, it's still anyone's guess in a country that has a huge share of unexplained aerial phenomenon. According to 90 Segundos, Peru has the third largest UFO sightings in the world after the U.S. and Mexico.
That was wet. I feel bad for whoever's got this microphone in the morning. Mally, why are you like Uncle Festering? She keeps
Davis.
like zipping her collar up higher and tucking her. She's turtling right in front of me. Good God.
Oh, no.
I need a photograph of this for the online. All of the people that are, oh, Mally's so adorable. If they saw the turtle right now, I think they'd go for the old face themselves. All right, where are we going next, Timothy?
You know that little alien that everyone was talking about, little 6-inch guy from Sirius Alien, or Stephen Greer's Sirius?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it turns out that Robert Ripley might have had the answer years and years and years before it was ever unveiled in the movie Sirius. It turns out that if you flip through Ripley's Search for the Shrunken... Exactly. And other curiosities, you'll find the image of Ripley holding a familiar humanoid, which I have on paper and is no good for anybody listening to the show, except for you two in the other room. Uh-huh. According to his notes, the oddity turned out to be a person who was chosen for a full-body reduction rather than just a shrinking of the head. Where did Ripley find the little guy? Well, Mr. Ripley found the shrunken body in Peru, where we just were, with the jellyfish alien, and named it Attaboy, after the nearby Atacama Desert. The same desert where Dr. Stephen Greer would eventually find the humanoid body in Sirius. So there you go.
Very cool.
That kind of explains that.
You got a short one for us?
Pardon me? All my life.
You have 40 seconds and go.
Okay, after a jury failed to reach a decision on whether or not he should be freed from a state hospital, a self-proclaimed psychic and karate expert, because it's hard to find both of them in the same place at one time. We'll learn June 17th whether the district attorney's office plans to challenge his petition for release again. 54-year-old James Heydrich.
Everybody was psychic kung fu fighting.
54-year-old James Heydrich appeared on multiple TV shows in the 80s, including That's Incredible and Ripley's Believe It or Not, demonstrating the purported power of the mind. He also gained notoriety after escaping from jails and prisons in 3 different states. Better lock him down extra tight this time. He's been in prison or state hospital since 1989 when he was convicted of, molesting 6 boys in Orange County.
No good. No good. All right, well, that wraps it up for another week of Darkness Radio.
So that is a classic supernatural news for this Monday. What'd you guys think? Did you enjoy it? Let us know. Email me at tim@darknessradio.com. Tomorrow we have 2 brand new shows for you. Now you may say, Tim, what do you mean by 2 brand new shows for you? Well, the first one, of course, is right here on Beyond the Darkness. And tomorrow on Beyond the Darkness It's the Dream Doctor, What Dreams May Come. Dr. Michael Lennox is a practicing psychologist and one of the most respected and sought-after dream interpreters in the U.S. He's appeared on Sci-Fi, MTV, and many more radio shows. And he's going to discuss the meanings of dreams, nightmares, ghostly visitations, and the nature of sleep and the science of dreams. That's here on Beyond the Darkness tomorrow. So make sure you tune in for that. And then for those of you who aren't aware or you've been living under a rock for quite some time, we have True Crime Tuesday over on Patreon. That's easy to get to. Patreon.com/True Crime Tuesday. Or if you go to darknessradio.com, you can click on the banner that says True Crime Tuesday and find us there. You can sign up and subscribe there. And tomorrow's show is Rippers, Demons, and the Butchers of Britain. True crime historian Neil Story is back with us. And we turn our focus to some of the most brutal, unusual, and disturbing crimes from scary old England. And Neil digs deep to unearth dark aspects of the Rippers of England, crime-solving and revenge-filled ghosts, demon barbers, butchers, and more. That's on True Crime Tuesday over on Patreon. Now, keep in mind, folks, that Dave is also doing something before his 50th birthday. He's giving away 3 free memberships to True Crime Tuesday if you sign up. Now, keep in mind, you got to sign up for True Crime Tuesday, but you can win yourself a free yearly membership to True Crime Tuesday if you sign up for his birthday on November 22nd. So get signed up for True Crime Tuesday, keep that membership active, and you could be one of those people who ends up winning a free yearly membership for True Crime Tuesday. That's over at patreon.com/True Crime Tuesday. So Rippers, Demons, and the Butchers of Britain over on True Crime Tuesday tomorrow. And then we got the Dream Doctor right here on Beyond the Darkness tomorrow. 2 great shows here from your boys, Tim and Dave, right here on Beyond the Darkness and Darkness Radio. That'll do it for today. Again, join us tomorrow for those 2 great shows, and we'll see you tomorrow, folks, on Beyond the Darkness.